Doc Leeson here, the podcasting beats with the Professor John Gotti. You know, the man with more names than Mrs. Wayne's has kids. Yeah, it's that guy, Mr. Omega himself. How you doing there, boy?
No, can't call it, man. How are you doing, man?
Johnny, I'm doing good. We have an end of an era, an end of a partnership, an end of a tandem, one of the last standing tandems in the NBA, which I said for quite some time that it might have been time. CJ McCollum traded from
Yeah.
the Trailblazers,
You you
splitting
you would
the
have
last
you would have
duo.
thought at the time that it would have been Dame would have been dealt
That's a tough
when they
one. I
were
mean,
talking about him getting dealt out of Portland.
yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of people kept saying that I read last week that he wanted to stay out west, so I could see why. But Dame sells more tickets, Dame sells more jerseys. You know, Dame is the ticket item that you have to keep around to kind of keep Portland relevant.
Yep.
CJ, although he's a great player, I mean, a star, in his own right. Dame is the main course. CJ, although he has main course potential, he's still side dish in Portland. But I think in New Orleans, he has a good opportunity. With Zion in and out of the lineup, Bi, still trying to find his way to superstardom. I think CJ is going to come in and help lift that Pelicans team to the next level.
I mean, let's hope so.
Yeah, but let's look at the trade there, though. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, at first I was like, they better stop playing. I know he didn't get traded for Josh Hart and some picks. Yeah, stop that right now. But New Orleans receives C.J. McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony
Yep.
Snell, pretty good defenders. Portland receives Josh Hart, Tomas Satoransky, Alexander Walker, who's a great product, and Didi Lazada, 2022 protected first round pick and two
Yes.
future second round picks. So it's
Which
pretty.
that first round pick right now is the ninth pick as of now.
So I'm assuming this is going to be top five protected. It
It could
doesn't
turn into it.
say. Yeah, it
It
doesn't. I
could
don't
turn
think it
into it, but
says.
it's not guaranteed that it's top five protected.
Yeah, it doesn't really show here, but I mean, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, obviously, the Trailblazers are going to build around Dame, as you have previously mentioned. They already traded Robert Covington and Powell earlier this month. I think last week they traded those two. So it seems
Hmm.
like they're in a mini rebuild. Nothing too crazy. They're in a mini rebuild. Um, but we'll
And
have to wait.
For the Pacers, for the Trailblazers, because the Pacers also made a trade too, I believe.
Right, right. They did.
They opened up $20.8 million in trade exception, and they'll
which
now
is
be $17.1 million below the tax.
which is good. I mean, I know the Trailblazers were in the talks to acquire Ben Simmons. I don't know now that they've traded away, CJ McCollum, if that's still a possibility. But I don't
I
know
still
who
think
else
it
is
was
on the
just
roster.
someone randomly tweeting that on Twitter, and people kind of ran with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping to see more from the Blazers. They've always been a pretty tough team. They just came up, one or two games shy of making
Yep.
it to, the finals. They were missing a piece, and that's
That's
why I'm
what we kept
surprised.
saying too.
Yeah, I mean, they tried to fill it with some people that, you know, I didn't think were the right guys, like Carmelo. Like some of those people that, might have been beyond their time. Covington was a great pickup, I thought at the time, somebody that can give them that 3 and D, but they never brought in that third, I guess, star or complementary player that could really bring them in to the next level, in my opinion. But I mean, moving on here to the NFL really quickly here, Johnny, we had some new head coach hires or promotions. I don't even know what to call them
Promotions.
anymore.
It's promotion.
We'll start with the Saints here. Dennis Allen, I've been saying all along, please just promote the guy and let's stop all the hoopla. Like
It was
he's there
way too much
already.
hoopla. It was way too much
Yeah,
hoopla.
he's there already. Like obviously they played under him. The players are familiar, and in a time where things are about to change so much, you need to keep something consistent, and a defensive coordinator who's there, who already has the locker room's attention when you know they're about to lose some guys because they're $99 million over the cap. Of course, I'm exaggerating, but you want to make sure that something stays the same. And Dennis Allen, I mean, it's not a great opportunity, but at least he's familiar with the organization and the players he's dealing with.
I feel like the longevity of this head coaching decision process is a detriment
Hmm.
towards this entire process.
Yeah.
Because they felt like that was the person they wanted this whole time. And of course, people started to bring up the Brian Flores situation.
Right.
But this is an example of, if you knew who you wanted already, you didn't need to do any interviews.
Well, and
Because in this case, you're promoting from within.
that's what I was thinking too. And the problem is that you invite other people in, and then you have to satisfy the Rooney Rule, and that's when it gets kind of dicey because it's like, you want to hire Dennis Allen, like you said, just bring Dennis Allen in, like, hey, we're just going to promote Dennis Allen. But once you bring in somebody else, then you have to go ahead and fulfill the Rooney Rule, which
Yep.
is what Brian Flores is saying, like, hey, you go in these interviews knowing dang well you don't have a shot,
Yep.
and now it's like, they just brought me in to fulfill you know, a stipulation,
Yeah.
but
To,
I'm not
as people
sure.
called it, check a box.
Check a freaking box. But I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Obviously, the Texans went ahead and moved forward with the Lovey Smith hire. Um, you know, I Lovey was already there, so technically this isn't a promotion from associate head coach to head coach. Like I said, it's sign. What was it? Sign, beard
Signed,
delivered.
beard, and delivered. Yep.
Oh God, that's so cringeworthy. But Lovey stays in Houston, where he was there last season. And again, smart hire. I wish they would have thought about this, 2 or 3 weeks ago. We
Hmm.
could have skipped the whole ordeal. Um, you know,
Again,
we,
like,
we
now they have to do a choice now because they kind of had their hands forced, but
yeah. And now, of course, lawyers are saying that Texans only hired Lovey Smith over the Brian Flores ex-Dolphin NFL lawsuit, which we talked about. I
we
mean,
talked about it.
because of the longevity, again, as you said, of the process, it just makes sense. Now we got to see what happens with Brian Flores. I know, you mentioned yesterday, the rumor mill is he joins the Bills staff. I mean, obviously, he can always go back to the Patriots staff. I know the Bucks just lost linebacker coach
Hmm.
who got hired as defensive coordinator. I forget which team hired him, but he's gonna have some options. Of course, you feel for the Eric Bieniemys, obviously Brian Flores, all the people that should have gotten jobs, but you have
Like, and not even so
some,
much as they deserve a job, they just deserve a chance to be able to
yeah,
do it. And that's the thing
yeah,
that has Doc and Prof so upset, is the fact that they deserve a chance to do it.
I agree.
Other news, ex Giants head coach Joe Judge has returned to the Patriots as an offensive assistant,
There you go.
and
Makes
the
perfect
Giants
sense.
are hiring Don Wink Martindale as their
Hmm.
defensive coordinator.
Which is good. Good for the Giants. I mean, again, I think we're gonna see some moving pieces. I hate that this is all happening during Black History Month. How apropos, right?
Yeah.
That all this is happening during Black History Month seems just about right. But just wanted to throw some quick stuff at you, ladies and gentlemen out there in the debate amongst sphere. But I know that people heard this podcast on their favorite podcast platform. But if they didn't, they can always go to their website at www.debateamongstfriends.com to review this episode as well as all the previous. Be sure to tune in tomorrow as we go over more news, more analysis, and those reads.